Hello and welcome to our August edition of Founder Friday. We are so glad you are here. Thank you for joining us. So today, as we go into our Founder Friday for this month, we are going to have a special guest with us. Joining us today is Benjamin Brewer. Benjamin is our Chief Innovation Officer here at Azure, and he is going to be joining David for this Founder Friday, where we're going to talk about carob, allergen controls, and other updates here at Azure. So David, Benjamin, I'll give you the floor, and bear with me as I pass on this microphone.
Yeah, hi everybody. Hey, it is exciting, to be up today. We, back in April when we lost our headquarters warehouse, our entire carob production line was in there. And so it all burned up. So Benjamin here started scrambling to get this moving forward to be replaced. Carob is it's not just a simple thing. It's not off the shelf stuff. It's all things that have to be pretty much, the equipment is all custom built. To make this, it's a design that we did here in-house. Benjamin mostly designed our original recipes and the equipment that was needed to do that. So we are very happy today to be back live. The whole thing's not live yet. We still don't have all the bars and some of the equipment in for all of it, but the carob chips are running. So hey, here's Benjamin. If you can tell them a little bit about what's going on here.
Yeah, we're still in the middle of construction, so you'll probably see some construction stuff going on here, but we are starting to produce chips on this line here. This is a cooler tunnel, and so this is what would cool the chips down as they're dropped onto the belt, and we can show you that here in a minute. Maybe we want to start at, do you want to show the chips now, or the beginning of the line? I'll take it through the process, and we'll show you a little bit how carob's made. So in here is our grinding room. It's also heated, so we have it in a closed room so it stays warm, and we have grinders and hold tanks and different things like that happen in here, and that is the part that makes our carob really smooth and delicious, is the grinding techniques we use. And so this is all ready to go pretty much, and then once it's ground up, it takes several hours of making it really fine, and then we pump it over into the chip tunnel. And that's happening right over here. It's just a little drum wheel roller thing that drops the chips onto the belt, and we can go down to the other end and see, actually, it looks like we're just running out of carob on this side, so it's not probably the best view, but the other end it should still be coming out well, and we'll show you down there. So it's about a 50-foot line that's all refrigerated, and it comes out down here. So we are dropping the chips here just into bags. This isn't all finished yet because we're still in construction, but so some temporary cardboard and things, but we're going to be running it into this conveyor over here at some point, and then it'll go into auto baggers and all that. But you get to see the chips coming off the line here.
So we're very happy to have chips again after 4 months almost of construction here, trying to put all this stuff back together. Carob chips, we've had a lot of disappointed customers that no organic carob, no carob available. Yeah, well, we still have a little ways to go before we fill the pipeline, guys. This is not going to mean that we're completely stocked on everything carob immediately, but step one, we have real chips coming off the line here, and these will probably end up being bulk chips, but this is step one. And carob is, it's been one of those things that's been very unique to Azure. It's something that organic carob is, I believe, as far as I know, we're the only ones in the U.S. that do make organic carob. So any American-made organic carob probably came from our original lines. And so when everything burned up, it's a little different than the old line was. The old line was a little bit taller and more space. They obviously, two things. Some of it had to be done quickly, so we had to find things that were quicker to put together. And the other thing is, we learned a few things along the way. And so it's not exactly identical, but the basic process of making the carob is the same. And that, Benjamin showed you the grinders and stuff in the other room. Those are all 100% custom done. We did those here. It's Benjamin's design. We did that here, everything in the Azure shop, because nobody makes a grinder that will do carob except us right now. So that's kind of a cool part about this process. That's the secret to the really smooth, tasty carob that Azure is able to produce. Unlike the gritty, kind of subpar product that was readily available some years back. So we're pretty proud of our Azure carob, and very, very happy to have it back in process.
Good deal.
So
We'll walk back out here.
is there anything else that...
Now this is pretty much the part that's running right now. If you want to turn and show this direction, you can start to see some of the equipment that we're starting to put in. This is going to be taking the carob chips up and putting it into an auto bagging machine, and then from there into boxes and pallets and all that. So it's just all part of the process of getting it back together again.
And this is part,
Yeah, this machine is a weigh scale. It'll actually go up on top of here and weigh each bag out individually and drop it into the pouch sealer. So
this will be primarily for the Missy J's pouches here, right? The little.
Yeah.
So those of you that buy the little 8-ounce Missy J pouches, they would come through this machine. If you're buying like the Azure Market 5-pound bulk, it would not come through here. It would be taken out straight off the...
Yeah, like we showed you there, just into the boxes.
Line. It'd go into boxes and be bagged through different process.
Right.
And then next to it here, we will going to be putting in the machinery to do the bars, and that goes up front, right?
Yep, close to the grinder room, there'll be another full line of bars and coating machine.
Peanut butter cups. And
carob coated almonds and peanuts. That'll be in this area as well. That will be coating those. But that's all second stage.
You have all that equipment, or is that still...
Some of it's coming like next week, so we're still getting some in.
So hopefully the rest of the equipment will be in next week for all those other things. We're very happy to have the chips going now.
Yep.
So we... One of the nice things about this, and I thought we would bring this up just a little bit here with the line. You notice this is all sealed, very carefully sealed inside. And the reason for that, and this will all be separated as well, and the reason for that is allergen control. Here at Azure, we take allergies very, very seriously. And not everybody, can eat everything, and cross-contamination is kind of a big deal. So the carob chips will not need to have an allergen in them. However, when we're doing the carob-coated almonds and peanuts and the peanut butter cups and all the bars, most of those have some form of either nuts or peanuts in them. You've got coconut or almonds or peanuts. So those lines will be separated and very clearly, so there's no possible contamination anywhere after the process of peanuts. So if you are allergic to nuts or peanuts or something, yeah, you won't be able to eat the peanut butter cups, but you'll be able to eat the chips still. And that's, so we've gone to quite a bit of extra trouble to not cross those lines so that the allergen controls are very clear. And we've been doing that throughout Azure. At our packaging rooms, the mills, at the mill we have 2 separate mills, one for things that don't have any known or common allergens, and one that's just dedicated for nothing but gluten. So, and then we have completely different segmented rooms for other allergens. So if there's nuts in something, for instance, tree nuts or peanuts, well, peanuts we don't even have those in the mill anywhere. Those are done in a separate room that we built over in Morrow. But the nuts, or if there's anything that has dairy in it, for instance, buttermilk pancake mix or something like that, those are all done in separate segregated rooms. And so we want you to, I just thought I'd bring this up again as we're going through the process and the extra work here with the carob, that we've done this throughout Azure. It's pretty much been done the last 4 or 5 years, but we, in the early days, we didn't do that. We did not keep everything very separate. And sometimes, I'm very allergic to dairy myself, and there were times that I went into the dip room and just got sick from the dust. This is back, 10, 20 years ago. But that is not the way things are anymore. We're very conscious of that. Everything is, if there is a change in allergens, we have very specific written SOPs that have to be gone through for an entire cleaning process, which we don't have to do that entire process very often because we don't switch allergens in the various areas very frequently. Most of the areas have dedicated lines for the allergens that might, and the primary allergens we're talking about here at Azure is obviously gluten, dairy, tree nuts, peanuts, and soy. Those are, there's some other common allergens, but not ones that we package here at Azure. So those are the ones that we are, they're very, very careful about. So anyway, I just kind of wanted to touch on that real quickly as we're going through this process. So we're pretty excited having this up and doing it, even though we had to do it in a huge rush. Even with a huge rush, it still took several months to do this carob because there's a lot of custom equipment that we had to have built. Some of it we built here, some of it we had other people do, and we're setting up. Some of it's, as Benjamin said, is still coming for some of the carob coated stuff and things like that. But that was, something that we're very mindful of as we're building this out. So, I was asked to talk a little bit about supply chain and how things are doing now. It's still on most grains and things, supply is still tight. It is not non-existent. We just had a harvest, we're going through a harvest depending on which grain it is. Wheat and some of those things are mostly harvested. Nationally, it's been a very mixed bag. Here in the Northwest, the wheat crop was excellent, above average wheat crops. But down in the South, they're having quite a drought. In the Texas, Kansas, some of those areas, It's pretty dry. And the wheat was a little iffy. Looks like the corn's going to be even worse, and the milo. However, last year we had more of a drought nationally up in the north prairies, up in the Dakotas and eastern Montana. That is better this year, although it's late. So none of that's harvested yet for the most part, because it was a really cold, wet spring up there. But everything is doing well now, and unless we have a crazy early fall, we should be seeing a reasonably good crop up in that part of the country. Now, worldwide, also a mixed bag. Europe, bad situation. Not only the Ukraine, but Europe has had drought situations in a good portion of it. Extra heat there that they don't usually get in some of the wheat growing areas like France. Not doing so well. Obviously, Ukraine has been disrupted with the war. Not a lot. Some of the farmers didn't even plant. Some of the products that are almost exclusive to that part of the world, like sunflowers, like for sunflower lecithin. Some of the confectionery sunflowers we grow in the U.S. and Canada, so there is some supply of that. And but a lot of the imported are from that part of the world, and that part of the world has been. So I guess the bottom line is that we are going to see a supply, but I don't foresee prices coming down very much. We may see a little bit of temporary price reduction, kind of a harvest. Some farmers are not in a financial shape that they can hold any crop back. They have to sell immediately at harvest. So if you have to sell immediately at harvest as a farmer, you're going to take a little bit of a price hit because you're going to have to sell a little bit cheaper. So we're seeing a little bit of that product coming through right now. But I don't foresee over the course of the next year that we're going to see dramatic price reductions, and we will see some products still very tight, like sunflower lecithin, some of those things. I mean, the price of sunflower lecithin has tripled in the past 6 months or so. And it's just the way the supply and demand is working. So it's not a clear-cut line that everything's moving at the same rate. Some things are not going to go up much and have a pretty good supply. Some things are going to be really tight. I just got a question about potato flakes. Potato crop has not been the greatest this last year, and it's not looking the greatest this year, unfortunately. The potato flakes are kind of the excess. So we have the fresh market potatoes are what every farmer makes his money growing for fresh market. That is when they're selling them into retail bags, or they're selling them directly to like the French fry companies that make them into fresh French fries or hash browns. And usually, the mid-sized potatoes get sold as bakers on the retail market. The really large ones go to French fries. Kind of the small and irregular go to things like hash browns. If there's an excess of any of those grades, they usually go to the drying plant. Like for potato flakes and things like that. Because the markets are so strong in fresh market, that gets last priority. So it's hard to get enough of particularly organic potato flakes for the past couple years. Now, we did get one load this summer of potato flakes, one semi-load, and that was, normally we have to contract on those ahead of time, like a year in advance. And because of the additional demand, we way under contracted, and we didn't even get our whole contract. However, we ended up getting one load this summer from another company that backed out of their load. They canceled the load. We were kind of in line if anybody canceled, and we got a load. So for a little short period of time, we were shipping potato flakes this summer, and it is probably going to be at least fall before we see any more. So there will probably be some come in. We do have much larger contracts in this year. No guarantee we're going to get all complete fulfillment of the amount that we contracted for, because they always have clauses in there about crop availability and acts of God and things like that. So potatoes, it was a mediocre year at best. You know, the big potato producing areas, of course, here in Eastern Oregon and Washington did pretty decent, not too bad, little under average, but not horrible. Idaho, pretty average crop. Back in the Midwest, not where the Dakotas, Red River Valley, some of those places, because of things being so late and muddy and cold early, not getting the crop that they expect, that they would hope for. So we're, and again, it's hit and miss throughout the country. It's that way every year to some extent, but because the supply chain got so depleted, it's every little bump affects the price and the end user. There's no like storage buffer to speak of, or that storage buffer is very minimal compared to what we've seen in years past. So anyway, that was one of the main questions that was thrown out here. So thank you everyone for tuning in. And if you have a question that you would like me or me to find a guest here to answer, send an email request to info@azurestandard.com. Founder Friday in the subject line is helpful. If you can do that, we love to get feedback from any of our customers or audience. And we love to help find things out if I know it, or if we need to find out. We're pretty immersed in the whole organic food and food industry here at Azure. It's kind of what we live and breathe besides just eat. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and make it a great week.